Controlled opposition is a strategy in which an organic opposition movement is covertly subverted or recreated by the ruling power to serve as mass deception, social manipulation, and ultimately to discredit and destroy the actual opposition. On October 28th of 2017, the first Q post appeared claiming that Hillary Clinton would be arrested in 2 days. And over the next few weeks, Q posts began telling the whole sordid story of how Luciferian elites have been planning on overthrowing America for decades. The Q posts assured everyone that a Patriot alliance led by President Trump is fighting them behind the scenes, repeating over and over again to enjoy the show and trust the plan. This is now becoming the mainstream narrative. Is this the truth, or is it something else? The reaction to the coronavirus appears to be a very cunning New World Order takeover. Globalist-run nations are suggesting that only extreme authoritarianism will save millions from dying. Economies worldwide are being destroyed. Civil rights are being stripped away. Many of us who have been speculating for years how this will all go down are seeing it very clearly for what it is. And the masses of people brainwashed by mainstream media are now joined by the masses of Q zealots and New Agers who religiously trust the plan without question. Interestingly, Q has claimed that Alex Jones and InfoWars, who have been warning people of the New World Order for 26 years, are controlled opposition. And the Q zealots accept this as fact. Will they cheer for the alliance if InfoWars is taken down for good? And if they take down Alex Jones, who will be next? Many people suggest that Q must be good because Q has revealed the evil conspiracy. But the enemy is very cunning and clever, and a lie this big could best be sold with the art of paltering. Paltering is the art of selling a lie by using the truth. A 2017 Harvard study stated that paltering is effective because the use of active, truthful statements is likely to both distort a target's beliefs and be very difficult to detect. The best lie is the one that has the most truth in it. The Q movement has become the new mainstream narrative. Is it the Great Awakening? Or is it the New World Order making its final move? Maybe there is a global alliance of patriots taking down the Illuminati worldwide. But who are they? Who are these so-called patriots? Who is to say this hidden army is not controlled opposition, posing as the American patriot movement? A great final lie to trick us all into a deeper state of tyranny, while they sacrifice pawns and reshuffle the deck for another round of their sick control game. If it were truly a revolution of the people, why are the people encouraged to do nothing but enjoy the show and trust the plan? If we are truly awake and enlightened, then we need to question everything. For Infowars.com, this is Greg Reese.
Let me just calmly lay this out for you and start at the beginning. Since the days of Judas Iscariot, 2,000 plus years ago, religious groups, military groups, political groups, cultural groups always had secret agents and spies. And they had secret agents that would also, try to get people like Jesus to do bad things so that the Sanhedrin could have him arrested and killed. So when we talk about treachery and we talk about people posing as if they're the good guys, when really they're the bad guys, that's as old as humanity itself. And if I failed in going after Q enough. Or I thought, well, it's been made to be so popular and it covers a lot of the real stuff going on in the world. Let me just try to be nice to its followers so I don't have to fight with them, and then maybe they'll listen to me. But they wouldn't, because they've been scientifically programmed to destroy the globalist opposition by leading it. And then I was talking just last week about Emmanuel Goldstein and how that was modeled after how Stalin really would lead the opposition. And then this morning I got up and I saw an article on Infowars.com, and I followed all the links and read back up on it, and it reminded me of several books I read several decades ago that I'll tell you about here in just a moment. But here's what it comes down to. Here's what it comes down to. What does the Soviet secret internal police have to do with 1984, published in 1948, have to do with New Lies for Old, published in 1984 by a high-level KGB defector? What do those three things have to do with Q-anon? And the answer is everything, my friends. So I saw this article by Chris Minahan from informationliberation.com up on Infowars.com this morning. I went, of course. The problem when you get so much knowledge and you've read so much and you know so much. I mean, I used to get video interviews of these KGB defectors and off VHS and air them on local access TV. I mean, I was deeply immersed in knowing all this when I was 22 years old. And then here I am today just telling listeners, hey, Q is a counter-insurgency operation to scoop you all up, similar to what the Russians used to do. People don't listen to just the knowledge given to them. They want to burrow in. So let me give you Q guys something for you to burrow in before it's too late. QAnon bears striking resemblance to Bolshevik psyop from the 1920s known as Operation Trust. And people, even after they were arrested by Operation Trust, when their torturers came in to torture them, they thought that they were actually their friends because they couldn't believe they'd been conned. Just like in 1984, O'Brien, and it's all just a fictional account of this, is torturing him to death. But he still thinks O'Brien's a good guy. And he's like, oh, O'Brien, they got you. When O'Brien comes in his jail cell, he goes, O'Brien, they got you? They got you too? And he goes, oh, they got me a long time ago, Winston. See, the difference is with somebody like me, I know Pachinik's an O'Brien type. I'm just observing him and watching him. I'm not Winston Smith. See, I'm the full direct frontal assault against all this. There's none of the Machiavelli. There's none of the deception. There's none of the manipulations. There's none of the knowledge of evil. I have the knowledge of evil, but I don't use the dark arts. I use the knowledge of good, and I want those rediscovered. That's what God smiles upon. That's the engine that drives me. So continuing, QAnon bears striking resemblance to Bolshevik psyop from the 1920s known as Operation Trust. Operation Trust was a Bolshevik counterintelligence operation run from 1921 to 26, aimed at neutralizing opposition by creating the false impression that a powerful group of military leaders had organized to stop the communist takeover. Now, Flynn wasn't involved in the modern version of this, but when it was energized and given incredible Facebook promotion, and when Q exploded and became one of the biggest movements in the world, Flynn, getting the Ring of Mordor, thought, well, I'll use this for good to stop the globalists because people believe there's a secret military move to stop them. Maybe we can use this to organize the military to actually stop it. But again, that played right into the plans. And Flynn now knows that. Here's an excerpt from Trust Operation, pages 13, 14 of Soviet defector Anatoly Golitsyn's book, New Lies for Old. I read that when I was about 16. And I'm not bragging about that. I'm saying, folks, it's incredible how this, when you read this, and here's WikiLeaks warning people. One of the more disturbing aspects of the QAnon online Trump pacification hoax is that while it claims to be fighting the deep state, permanent security complex, it promotes the rendition of Edward Snowden and a CIA regime change in Iran. It also pushes going after Iran, which is a CIA Mossad goal. It also attacks and says, don't pardon Julian Assange. I mean, give me a break. It goes into Mike Flynn putting out the QAnon stuff. General Flynn to Alex Jones, Donald Trump will continue to be president for the next 4 years, no doubt in my mind. 24 hours later, Trump said he was stepping down and would be leaving. QAnon, their striking resemblance to Bolshevik psyop from the 1920s known as Operation Trust. Let's get into Operation Trust for you. Here's from Wikipedia, of all places. Operation Trust was a counterintelligence operation of the State Political Directorate, GPU, of the Soviet Union. The operation, which was set up by the GPU's predecessor from 21 to 26, set up a fake anti-Bolshevik resistance organization, Monarchist Union of Central Russia. And it goes on to say how they set up hundreds of thousands of people that believe they were working for the resistance and were really working for the Soviets and for V.I. Lenin and for Joseph Stalin. And they go on to break down in here that the mind control was so incredible that when they got the 30-plus volumes of it partially declassified in the 1990s, that it was also used to round up enemies of Stalin and enemies of Lenin, where they would actually get the trust tards of Operation Trust to go out and commit crimes and killings against the Bolshevik system so the Bolsheviks wouldn't even get the blame. And that, my friends, is mission-oriented, operation-oriented mind control. So I suggest you go read this for yourself. Let's read a little bit from Anatoly Golitsyn's book, New Lies for Old, from 1984. And this is just a boiled on it, but the book is free online. Just type it in, you'll find it on a whole bunch of sites. It goes into KGB director and the other systems were absolutely able to control what was going on in the country and even able to lure people from outside the Soviet Union into the Soviet Union, believe they were going to be part of the resistance so they could set them up, arrest them, kill them, imprison them, or co-opt them, believing they were still working for the resistance to, again, go out and commit crimes to then be blamed on the general real resistance because members of the original Q-tard force, again, could not believe they had been conned in something as sophisticated as this. It's very, very important that you understand this. It's okay. It's okay. But you understand that we lost the country because of Q.
Yes, sir.
And I have to put up with the Q people all over the place. And I'm tired of it. So I'm not mad at you, but you hit a button here. And the damn Q people were the ones that manipulated some people to go into the damn Capitol and worked with the feds. Q is the worst people on earth at the top. Q is the New World Order. Q is a psyop to lead us around by our noses.